How's it going, everybody? Thiccas here, and we already know that Season 2 of Tekken 8 is not far from here. It's almost right around the corner, and I figured because a couple of people asked me on either stream or in DMs or whatever, hey Thiccas, do you have a wish list for someone in Tekken 8 and maybe a reason to return in this game and, you know, grind the game a bit more? And, you know, yeah, I do have a wish list for one character specific, which is Jack. For the people that didn't know, I play a lot of Jack. He is arguably my main character, even more main as the Bears. So, yes, there are a couple of things that would be amazing for Jack in my opinion. Keep in mind, some of them might not be realistic. Just let me know what, you know, is broken or whatnot. I can probably already tell some of them are just pretty extreme, but it would be cool to have something a bit close to it, right? But I'm gonna be very honest, some of these changes are also things that should absolutely get changed in my opinion. I don't see why this is the case with Jack now. So let's start with one of the obvious buffs in my opinion. If you've played Jack in T7, you already know I'm talking about this button. This button normally in T7 was way more plus. Don't get me wrong, it's very fast. It's a 12 frame low, which is good, but +1. Reason why this is not that great, all his follow-ups are either like steppable, you know, like while standing 4 here, it's extremely steppable, and all his other follow-ups are just no frame traps. They have gaps. So I'm not really saying per se that, you know, this should be a super good frame trap afterwards. That would be a bit oppressive, but if he would have a better like frame data after hitting, you know, while standing 4 would be harder to step. This already would be a massive change for Jack instead of doing this on hit and getting risked by getting stepped here, because this is legit the only frame trap we have. And don't forget, this is 10 frames after down back 1. So it will even trade Fizz's jabs. So it's not even the most perfect frame tight situation for Jack. But that is one of the, in my opinion, one of the most important changes that should get changed. The other change is also completely related to what he had before, which is this string. So we all know the full crouch string from Jack 7, so Tekken 7, was definitely better. But let's not say that this is dog shit. This is not a dog shit string, but it's a weird string because it's 14 frames, which is good. But this is like -11 out of my... Yeah, it is -11, so it's pretty safe as well, right? However, it does nothing on counter. And this is something since I started playing Jack, I didn't understand why this gives nothing on counter. So if I put on counter here and I do this, that's not guaranteed. Same goes for if you hit the second hit only. I'm going to try and demonstrate here. That's also not guaranteed. So it's a bit weird where, you know, it's a good poke, don't get me wrong. +3 is perfect for like the while standing 4 here. But it does nothing on counter. And yes, Jack has options to go into crouch like this and do the down back 1 in crouch as a frame trap. So that would allow me to go for this and this on its own. Well, not counter hit needed, but the follow-up here is like +6. So that's not bad. Or +5, excuse me. So that's really good. Being +5 after like hitting this on counter would have been great, but I hope this will get changed because it's needed for Jack. I think this is a really good button. Would that change happen? So now I'm going into a little bit of like, you can say this is unrealistic, but I truly think, especially with other characters in this game, I know comparing is not the best thing to do, but we kind of have to at this point. There are plenty of characters with unbreakable throws. So Flex 1+2 as an example here. I don't see why this is like breakable. Especially because this option, this stance, there's no reason to duck it. Everything here is mid or high, and now people say, oh yeah, but you have a reason to duck. Dude, this is 20 frames. It's 20 frames. It's slow. Yes, you also have this option, but it's steppable. So that's why, like, then you'll say, okay, but you have the Golem 1 option. Gigas player, that's why I'm saying Golem. But you can literally step and block this because it's 22 frames. So I don't know. It's a bit weird where you don't have to fear this guy in his stance if you know what to do here. And yeah, some options are even down jabbable. If you're one of those, you can down jab a lot of options, because this also is really slow. This is slow. This is extremely slow. This is fast, but again, this is steppable. So it would be sick to have an option to kind of fear, right? Because this is just a breakable throw. Or Jack will get a low in this stance. It's funny because this is something Gigas kind of needed as well. Remember way back in T7 where he had the Golem stance, and he also had the same issue where there's no reason to duck him. Well, we have literally the same now with Jack. So it would be cool to have like a, you know, a bit of a chunkier low in his stance. But this, again, this is fantasy territory. Imagine if you could charge the high option like Gigas. Again, I'm biased as fuck here, but imagine being able to charge it and it will become something like this, like a plus on block mid. So that would be really cool, where you can choose to go for like the high option or go for the flex and charge the high option. He reels back a little bit and then he punches you even harder, and it becomes a mid and maybe plus on block, right? Or some really good chip. So that might be really cool. In heat, by the way, so if we talk about the charge mid punch, in heat, it will just guard break as well. You know, just like this. This gives you plus 11 on heat. Like this, right? So you can do the 2-3 option. So that's good, right? But imagine if you could charge it even now, and it will put him even more plus on block. So it will guard break and will maybe give him plus 12. So you can loop this into it. And that, in my opinion, would be so sick if you have the option to go for like a charge mid duff and you get plus 12. And you can go into the stance again. So yeah, again, this might be very unrealistic, but I think that would be extremely cool for Jack. But yeah, again, you can say this is super unrealistic. Sidestep 1 is a very weird button. I rarely see any Jack player use it for a good reason. Well, for multiple good reasons. Let's talk about the pros. It's plus on block. It launches on normal hit. So that's cool, right? And again, it is plus on block. I'm going to try and showcase it right here. It's plus 6 on block, and it forces crouch. So those qualities are good. However, it is 32 frames slow. It has 0 tracking. So yeah, it's a good button, don't get me wrong, but for a reason it's never getting used, because it's slow, it's sluggish, and it has no tracking. So I don't want to overtune this button too much, but I do think that either a buff into its tracking would help, using, you know, giving you a reason to use this button. Don't make it ultra fast, just give it, you know, shave up some frames where it at least like 28 or something. 32 is super slow. Or this might be, again, unrealistic territory. But imagine being able to go into flex after this. So then we would have like a mid option that will put us in plus, and we can go into a flex. So we can enforce a mix up here. Because the only plus, for what I know, plus on block option that goes into this, and I'm talking good amount of plus frames, right, is sidestep 2. So sidestep 2 into flex plus 9, which is great. Some people will say this is also plus, but look, it's only plus 2. So that's not it in my opinion. And again, I'm talking about block. I'm not talking about, you know, on hit, because we do have this on hit. But yeah, dude, you either buff it a wee bit in startup, or a slightly bit in tracking, or give us a cool option and allow us to go into the stance, because that would be really cool in my opinion. Having a mid option to enforce a mix in flex would be cool. Also, by the way, it's for a reason called a wish list. So this, you know, obviously is not going to happen. But if one of these changes would happen in the actual update, would be very cool. It's not the point that all of this should happen, but would one of them may come in, would be really cool. Another button I want to talk about is this button. I don't understand why this is minus 18. Like, even minus 15 would be a bit more of a okay, but I still don't know why this is launched. Because it's 22 frames, it high crushes, which is cool. On hit, it's +3. So it's not even +4 or a chunkier amount of plus frames. And on counter, it gives you a follow-up, which is this. Which is cool. Like, it's a very cool follow-up. But I don't understand why you would go for this for the risk reward. It is a high crush option, but we also have this for high crush. Right? It's not plus, but still, it's not death on block. This is not death on, this is only -13. This, however, is launch for everyone can launch this. Make it maybe -14. -15, in my opinion, would still be a bit weird. Why is this launch? Right? Especially if you have Kazuya's low being a counter hit launcher. It's not even launch punishable. Jin's down 2, but that will probably get nerfed. But you have different lows in this game that also high crush. They're plus on hit, and they're not like launch on block. So I don't understand why this is launch. And this is something I did say the first week I played Jack. This lost its groundbreaking option. And in this game, where, you know, floor blasts are a thing, ground breaks are also a thing in this game, I think this would be really good to have back. Like, I don't understand why this doesn't, like, floor break. Maybe some people will make the argument that it would be too broken because floor blasts are a thing, ground breaks are a thing, so it would be a bit too oppressive to have the option to have, like, this kind of throw floor blast. But I'll be very honest here again. It's 23 frames. You can't avoid this, and there are plenty of throws that actually do the job. I mean, Jack has one of them. So, I don't understand why this, you know, we also have Tombstone. It's 11 frames. So, yeah, I don't understand why this doesn't floor break or has a single interaction with the stage. Up for 2 is also a cool button in my opinion. It's mid, it's +4. The range, however, is not the best, but you can't have everything. However, on hit, it's +7, which is really cool. On counter, however, this is where I'm a little bit split between if it's good or not. It knocks down. So, yeah, it gives you, like, guaranteed shenanigans, right? It gives you, like, this. Again, might be unrealistic, but would it be better if this on counter would do the same as this? So, +14 for guaranteed shenanigans at the wall or in the open, where would you hit this on counter, it would enforce the same reaction as this, where it can go for this. Right, the heat engager. Again, maybe that's too broken. Maybe that might even be a nerf for some people, but I do think that hitting this on counter and you get something guaranteed with 14 frames would be big boy damage at the wall. So, yeah, I would prefer this, but I can see if you don't prefer this. 212 is a weird string. I never use it. I even use this a bit more, like more often, and this is not even a good string, right? It's not a terrible string, but it's like a weird gimmicky string. But I don't understand why this follow-up is so slow. You can legit, like, I think you can armor or interrupt it. It's slow. I mean, the rewards are pretty high because this legit launches, so that's cool, and it's only -12. But still, it's so sluggish. It can be stepped for what I know. So maybe buff the frames where the swing afterwards happens a tiny bit faster. I'm not talking about make it twice as fast, by the way. I'm just talking about, you know, a little bit of an speed buff here. Speed bump would be pretty good because no one uses this string. And if you use it, you're crazy. You're cool. If only I would be as cool because I never use this string for that reason. It's slow. Here comes, I think, the biggest change I want to see, and I don't think we will get it, but the recovery frames on flex. And the reason why, again, it's not good to compare, but King literally has the better flex in this game, in my opinion. I know this allows for follow-ups, like pre-canned follow-ups, which is, you know, 1, 2, 3, forward 1, etc., etc. However, King has one follow-up, which is the Emerald Elbow. It's a heat engaging mid, pretty fast as well, and it's safe. But it doesn't stop there. He can also just flex and hop kick people out of big buttons. He can also just flex and do other buttons, just as Gigas did in Tekken 7. And I don't think that, look at how long it takes for Jack to get into crouch. You see how long it takes? so he can go into crouch, because you're stuck there for so many frames. It would be just cool to cancel this a bit faster, where if you do this, you can duck and either, you know, avoid the throw attempts or just break throw attempts, so you're not stuck forever. It feels a bit too sluggish in my opinion. This might have to do because, you know, Jack has a lot of follow-ups like this, and again, you know, the flex options. But being stuck just because you try to get a read, meanwhile Kane can do the same but better, it feels very unfair in my opinion. But this also just might be my inner bias towards Gigas. I think Jack deserves it a bit more than King, but would be cool to have reduced frames on recovery here, because it's so slow, dude. So something not a lot of people talk about, and maybe again this is just, again, it's my wish list, so this is something I would like to see as well. I don't think this is fast enough, the Power Crush. It's 27 frames. It happens a lot of times where I rarely use this Power Crush, right? And someone jabs me or does like 1-1, and they can still block, because the frame on impact is so slow. It's 27. So that's why maybe buff this a wee bit. Don't overkill buff it, because, you know, we also have this. This is 20, but it's a high. Just give me a reason to use it, because I rarely use this, because it's a bit too slow. We have Power Crushes being 20 frames here in this game. So, and it's mid as well. And they also knock down, and some of them heat engage. This will get nerfed. Get fucked, Kuma. But yeah, please like buff it a teeny tiny bit, because it's sluggish. It's a bit sluggish. It does give a knockdown, but again, we have multiple Power Crushes that do the same. The final button I want to talk about is not a lot of people talk about this button. I mean, not a lot of people talk about Jack in general, but back 4. Because this is the only this is the only 13 frame mid we have, which is not bad. It's cool that we have it. However, it's -2 on hit. And I know it has a follow-up. Being safe, which is cool, and on counter, this is an instant, as you can see, it is an instant floor blast, floor interaction. And that's cool, you know, having a 13 frame button doing this. But here's the reason why the string is not as good as you think. It's interruptible. It has a gap. Alright, so I recorded Kazuya doing just his 1-1 out of block, and here you can see it's interruptible. So I'm not even sure how big the gap is, but it's definitely with a 10 framer. And it would be just cool to have like this mid option, even on hit, that it allows for some follow-ups, like some pressure afterwards, where on hit you can do like maybe like a jab, right? Because this loses to other options, because it's -2, it makes it 13. Maybe even on neutral, like even if this would put me in neutral, it would be good. It would give me more reasons to go for this button. I like this button, but it's a bit too sluggish in my opinion for something that has a gap. I personally don't think that's a great way to balance the string or this button. And again, it's not even good in range, right? Like, look, that whiffs. But that's not even the case. That's not even a point that the range is a bit lacking. It's just the frames and the fact that this string has a gap. So, yeah. So, yeah, that was pretty much it. I don't have a lot to talk about Jack, because I do think that his game plan, the way he plays, is extremely fun. Again, he is the reason why I'm probably, you know, gonna check Season 2 in general and play the game a bit more. Because he is really fun, and I do hope that he will get the attention he deserves and need, because this character has been quite weird and or even considered weak for a pretty long time now. So I hope that either one of these changes will make it in, and if not, no problem, but please give him something else that will help him, because yeah, those options, those things I mentioned kind of holds him back. And I do hope that I honestly, some of these will absolutely help him, not make him busted. So yeah, this is my wish list for Jack in Season 2. I hope this will answer some questions you had. I hope you guys can also talk about your wishes about Jack. You know, share in the comment section what you want to see about Jack. Because, man, he is a cool character. I do think that he deserves more love. That's just what it is. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, share your opinion about Jack and T8 in the Season 2. And talk to you later, man. Take care.